Let me now bring in federal attorney Kelly Hyman, whose background includes extensive experience in litigation, including 5 state bar associations, one being in New York, where Maduro's case is being tried. Kelly, it's always good to have you. Guys, if we could pop up those live pics. Yeah, let me just stay on this for a second. And Kelly, let me ask you just a question for starters. Marcus said, this crowd is there in support of Nicolas Maduro. Who do you think is, comprised in this crowd? Like, what's the profile of the people who are now protesting? Do they actually love Nicolas Maduro? Do they hate President Trump? Who's in this crowd right now, you think?
I think that in the crowd, there's all different types of views. People that support Maduro, that are there to support him, that people are there to support their country. There are people there that are against him as well. We have to remember that not only is this case playing out in the court of public opinion, as people are watching out there and speaking and telling how they feel about the situation, but also in the court of law. And today is a really important hearing in the court of law as well, in this case.
Yeah. And the crux of today is that the Trump administration blocked Venezuela from paying Maduro's legal fees. His own lawyer, Kelly, says he can't even afford his defense. My question to you is, can the White House do that? Cut off a defendant's ability to pay for a lawyer?
When we look at this from a legal perspective, it's important to consider what exactly is the argument for both sides in regards to the legal fees. From defendant's standpoint, Maduro's standpoint, that he has a constitutional right in our Constitution under the 6th Amendment to pick who he wants to represent him. And in fact, that he wants the funding to come from the Venezuelan country. Now, however, from the government standpoint, which is strong legal grounds, is the fact that because there are sanctions against Venezuela, that in fact it is not allowed to have the funding for his legal defense in this matter. Now, defendants will argue that they do not have the funding to pay for his legal fees, but then the Department of Justice, the government asserts, okay, well, if in fact you don't have the funding to pay for it personally, then you can have a public defender, someone to represent your interests. So in fact, that you will have an attorney. Ultimately, the judge is going to decide this potentially coming soon.
What do you think the judge will decide to do with this, Kelly? Because we're talking about Judge Alvin Hallerstein, who has twice denied President Trump's request to move his hush money case to federal court. So any predictions in your crystal ball on how he might rule on this?
The two possibilities is either to allow Venezuela to pay his legal fees, or if in fact that if he cannot pay the legal fees, to appoint a public defender, so he'll have legal counsel. So I could see him potentially saying, okay, you don't have the funds, and because of sanctions with Venezuela, then we will get you a public defender.
Okay. And last quick fire question for you, trial date expectations. When might that be? Years from now?
Years from now. And why is that? Because this case is very complex. There's a lot of issues, especially in regards to Maduro's immunity, because he is going to assert that he was the president and he, in fact, has immunity. The government will argue that we do not believe that he was the righteous president, and therefore you have no immunity in this case. And I could see that going up to the Supreme Court and then back again, and this case taking many, many years to work through the court system.
Yeah, quite some time. Kelly Hyman, thank you as always for your insights, and we're going to keep a close eye on this crowd outside the courthouse. Just make sure everything remains peaceful this morning. Appreciate your time, as always.